So good evening everybody, welcome to the Down in Cycling DONNYCHAINGANG Masochist City, because we did a really silly thing. We went for a boat face moment of where should we go today. We had a few ideas and 66 people, more than double any other route, decided we should go up to the top before the top. However, we did decide we didn't want to be here this time next year. So we shortened that down a little bit. We took 6k off the top and went to Lorraine, and that means that it's going to be a little bit shorter, thank goodness. It's been a great week, been out riding loads, and looks like we've got some really big numbers likely to be here tonight. Crazy enough to sign up for the ride, which is kicking off very shortly. First of all, let's speak to the one and only Russ Downing. Russ, of course, absolutely key to the whole enterprise. Let's make sure we know what Russ has got in store for everybody.
How do?
Now then, Russ, how are you?
Not bad.
You're ready?
Just, yeah, ready as ever be to go up a 12k climb when you can't climb, but give the people what they want in it.
It is a bit. They want to go up some dirty great mountain in the middle of France, then why not do it? It seems to kind of make some sort of sense, I think. Honest Gov. And we're going up to Lorraine, so Chalet Reynard is the destination with the beacon. I know you posted up a replay of the last one that we went up there.
Yeah, that was it Ryan Williams just took out the win in this thing that's not a bike race. But yeah, just over an hour, and yeah, I didn't enjoy it then, so I don't know why we've said we'll go back, but
it makes all the other routes seem amazing, doesn't it, afterwards? Everything else seems easy.
And I'm not quite sure what's going on in the world, and definitely on the DCG, because there's nearly 200 people want to go up this hill, and that's just, I don't know what's wrong with them.
We live in strange times. That is
we
for
do
sure. So we've got 22.5k of route and about 1.5k of warm down, if people are feeling that way out. And I think it's going to be a nice steady run in. Is it to the top of the Petite KOM?
I hope so. That's what I keep typing. I think I've typed it about 4 or 5 times tonight. So yeah. Let's hope everyone listens and we have a good steady ride. So it's all about the getting it out on the KOM really. So it's going to be a good 40-minute effort up there for even the fastest guys. So yeah, if you think you can go all in from the start, then we'll probably see you halfway up. So
no, I think you'll see them definitely halfway up. It's definitely going to be sit in the bunch, save your effort, and then give it the beans when you go. When you say the go symbol, and with a minute and a half, we better let you concentrate on getting those legs turning, ready for what is going to be a bit of a marathon effort.
Yeah, I'll get them turning. I'll been out for a quick spin today, so I'll unclip, turn up the speaker volume, and away we go.
Excellent. Well, good luck, Russ, and sort of enjoy it somewhere along the lines.
It's a bike ride, isn't it? So yeah, I'll enjoy it.
Good stuff. We'll see you soon.
See you later, mate.
Well, a big thank you to Russ out there, and as Russ was saying, he's been out already today, and I hope you've been out enjoying what was a really nice day out there, certainly around Yorkshire. Don't know about the rest of the world, but who's worried about that? Now, of course, as you'll have noticed, we've got lots of pubbies back in the background because it is coming up to the Armistice Day tomorrow. We're going to be doing the same again on Thursday, because it is really all Flanders week down in the Low Countries, and that means that we have got a cracking route for you. Now, we've hinted at just how big this hill is. Let's show you exactly how big this is. We're in France and we are at Lorraine. Now, in Lorraine, it is a little bit of a big hill. It's one of our shortest routes, leading 0 kilometres. Course 22.8k, of which 14 kilometres, the last 14k, is uphill. 14 kilometres uphill. Dead simple, really straightforward. But adding to that we've also got a few of the other features on the way in. It gives you a good indication. Now, to show you what that means in terms of the course map. and that means that we're going to pull you in the route, and it is literally a straight line. No circuits today on the Donny Chain Gang. We are straight in to what is a really straightforward route. We just go straight up the hill, literally straight up the hill. No messing about, no cutting the corners. We are going straight up, and we are going to be heading right up to the top of the circuit. You can see on the way we have a green sprint, that's the Ballon sprint, and then we go through the Petite KOM, but then we go into the climb proper. What does that translate as in terms of being the climb that we're going to do? Well, you've seen all the Velo Viewer graphics before, I'm sure, and let's bring you those Velo Viewer graphics this time round, because that is going to be important, because this says everything. We've actually turned down the elevation on this, not turned it up, we've turned this down. This gives you an indication of just how big it is. The little tiny wiggly bit above the Velo Viewer logo, that is the flat section of the course. That's the part we're going to be running on. The big section of the course is the climb, and as you can see, we've got plenty of 10-12%, and it goes all the way on to 22.8k. The total cost averages at 4.5%. However, 4.5% is for the whole lot, and you can see how much of that is flat at the start. Huge amount. Now, a quick reminder, everybody needs to settle down and calm down. It doesn't want to be a long chain here. The aim is to hold it all together as long as we can, quite simply because we're going to go when we get to the main climb. Now, for those of you just joining us who have only just made it in, see the map, you can see the course. What does that translate into when our riders are out on course and heading out through the circuit? Well, and that is going to translate as something very realistic, actually, I think, at the moment, because our riders at the moment look like they are absolutely hammering the way up. We're going to jump in with one of our regular riders. We're going to try and go in, I think, with Charlie Babbitt, who is out on the course at the moment. And Charlie, one of our beacons as well. So, you've got the map, you've got the profile. What we have now, we've got the riders just over there. As you can see, aim is to keep it knocked down and slow the pace down. So let's head out and across, and let's go head into France for Lorraine for the Downhill Cycling Donny Chain Gang. So here we go. As you can see, we're in Lorraine in France. The 100 riders nearest to Charlie Babbitt streaming their way around the circuit. We're going to jump in with Charlie. We're going to jump in with the drone cam and just back it up a little bit here so that we can take a little bit of a look up the road and a little bit of a look behind. Now, there are riders jumping and disappearing off the front, and that is because there are plenty of riders in front. It is one huge chain. Now, we say this like a stuck record. You cannot see everybody. It's really straightforward. There's no way you can see everybody out on circuit. You will only be able to see what is nearest 100 riders out on circuit. So let's jump in with Rich Hill. Rich on his way up the turns, the twists and turns. You can see the top right hand side of the map. Now Rich just rolling, just waiting, I think, to pick up Mr. Taylor. So Taylor and Hill are together. This is Rich Hill, and Rich and Taylor currently just pacing themselves up through the gorge. As you can see, we already have 38 seconds to the back of the main group, and heading out to the 40 seconds now. These guys riding along at 2.4 watts per kilo. You would think that would be enough to stay in the group, but clearly the group in front know better and have been hammering off. However, pacing yourself is absolutely nailed on now. Rich is going to be our red beacon for the night. Looks like it's not just flicking up on the screen at the moment, but he is our beacon and doing a great job. So we'll jump in with Rich, just pacing Mr. Taylor back into Perrin. Perrin just in this group as well. You can just see the beacon just shining up on the screen. and just heading its way up. Looks like Mr. Davenport not too far away as well, and then this is going to be Williams as well out on the circuit. And you can see a long steady stream of riders. Mel Blackford here, one of the riders who we know can be right in at the kill, on its way up. And a reminder guys, if you're at the front you need to be able to see the yellow beacon. You want to be camped on his back wheel. Let Russ tow you up as far as is possible. So helicopter shot showing the distance up as Mel starts to make his way in. Remember, 43 seconds back to reach our red beacon at this stage, and Mel just going to be making his way through. We'll just sit with Mel at the moment because he's kicking out 5 watts per kilo. It's a good number for us to make our way in and through. And yes, I'll tell you something, it is great digital scenery on the way through. Great to have everybody here. Mr. Hughes just being passed there. Riders jumping into groups, and I think we'll be closing on to the back of Rashid in a second. So there are lots of riders already being spread right out. Looks like Ben from Velo Viewer in the main group. Great to have Ben. Don't forget Velo Viewer, the graphics are everything. It's how you can look and see exactly what it's going to look like now. As we run through, Mel just going to be making his way up but towards Ross here, which means we're going to go up in the air with our drone cam, and just see just going through Isaacs. Quick question from Mike Selkout, who's at the front? That immaterial, they're clearly wasting energy. Let's see if we've got a time check to the boys right on the front. Looks like 15 seconds minimum to the guys at the front now. Name and shame time for any riders who are on big watts per kilos, because we're soon going to be able to identify them. Bear in mind some of the kids won't be able to do little watts per kilos, that is for sure. So just jumping in with the front group here, and we're going to be working out who is hammering the front of the group away. Try and get right to the very front here. You can see already loads of riders behind getting shelled. So just jumping in with the front group here. So name and shame time going to be coming up. For anybody jumping over those 2.5 watts per kilo, always entertaining moments this. Name and shame coming. Mr. Ronker, knock it back off again. Mr. Stewart. Let's have a little look. Mr. Boo, 3.5 watts per kilo. Let's have a little look. Let's see if we can see the yellow beacon. Oh look, it's about half a kilometre behind. Good to see he's knocking it down. Let's go hunting. Big watts per kilo hunting. Everybody's looking reasonably behaved at 2.3, 2.9 there, 2.5. Looks like Mr. Turnbull and Mr. Cooper getting ready for a rematch here. A little bit further up in the group, trying to get right to the very front. Looks like they're just rolling at 2.1, which is fantastic, but there is a big split on here now. Guys, you need to drop back to yellow, drop back to yellow. We will, we've managed to avoid putting a fence on this, but it might yet happen. So this is our front 100 riders, and if we take a look up in the sky, you're going to be taking a little bit of a look back. As you can see, there are a solid group of riders behind these, all the way to Russ, who's in the middle of the pack. So a reminder guys, keep the watts per kilo down, don't chase the front, you will get past a little bit later on as Russ is rolling his way up. It's all about keeping the watts per kilo low on the run in. I've seen plenty of twos. So a fence, Ben, before you ask, so a fence basically would jump on the front and it would stop riders if they go too hard. They won't disappear off the front of the group, and they would be pinned within 18 metres or so of Ross. They couldn't disappear. if you get back and the riders go off the back, you're not going to see it. So at the moment we have a big group of riders on front. Now, Mr. Thwaites is a rider who's going to be in contention. Let's have a little bit of a look, see where Mr. Thwaites is. Potential winner. He's currently sat 50-60 riders behind Russ, but with 200 plus riders going up, there's well over 100 riders in front of Russ. And the shout has come from Russ. Don't worry, we will pull the coverage if we need to. We've done it before, and we'll do it again. It's more than possible, and we will see. I think Russ just heading up the road just to have a little word with one or two riders. The problem is we've got such a volume of riders here, it is soon pushing onwards through the group. We're just going to drop our way back. Look, Rick King here, another rider we know is going to be up at the front. Looks like James Allen here, Ben from Mansfield. Delsey's in here, Blackford's in here. It's a real who's who of riders who we know are going to be Nick Dorsey in here, standing line, Handley, Faulting, Mason. Looks like Stevenson at the back of this group. We're just rolling our way back from Russ, and it looks like Russ just jumping up onto the front. So whilst Russ is doing a little bit of patrolling on the front of the group, and he's going to name and shame on the messenger, we're going to drop in with our Red Beacon group here. These are the real heroes of the ride here. So this is Rich Hill. It's also Mr. Perrin and Taylor. So our three riders here forming the autobus nice and early. Driving it is Rich Hill. Rich is our autobus pilot, the Red Beacon for the day. And it's Alec Taylor and it's going to be Tony Perrin together at the moment. So those are our three riders here, ticking along nicely. And you can see the Mont Ventoux in front. We're going to Chalet Reynard. It's just as you emerge from the tree line. There's another 6 kilometres on the way up and over the top. And as you can see, not contesting the sprint. We're not even going to call it because it's not important tonight, to be honest. So it looks like Russ getting knocked with our riders on the front, quite rightly. And going to be very entertaining to see just how hard they go. Remember, the spirit of the Donnychaingang is hold as many people together as long as possible and then roll in to the end. We have looked at doing a subscription model, which would basically mean that you could get taken off, but it would mean that we'd have to police it. To be honest, we trust our riders normally. Let's see what happens. So, going to hopefully Russ will contain himself on his way in and let the real riders ride around him. And those that have maybe something to prove, maybe a little bit lacking in some departments, in the old physiology department, maybe are going to be having to, probably those with wide bore exhausts on the cars, probably going to be trying to burn up on the front and prove to everybody that they've got what it takes. We know who's got what it takes, so the riders are going to be on the front when it comes to the finishing line. So, just watching our beacons on the way up. Just in front is Mr. Hughes, so we're going to drop in with Hughes here. This is going to be Paul. Paul ticking along nicely on his way in, and leading the riders now onto the Petite KOM. This is the little KOM, and it's a tough climb in before you hit into the main group. Looks like plenty of riders around. Looks like James Allen just here with Isaacs as well. So just watching Allen and Mr. Coleman. Yeah, it's a bigger incline, so he's got a 32 sprocket on the back, then you'll be fine. So fueled up tonight with the coffee today from the Grand Tour Coffee Company. So it looks like Mr. Herring talking about... John. It is John Allen, not James Allen. Good stuff, John. Thanks for letting me know. So John just sitting in here. John doing a nice ride. Nice matching kit. Lightweight but aero frame. Not the lightest frame in there. And then we have Mr. Davenport just in front. Craig, I wouldn't drop too far back if I were you. You would be in danger of being dropped out. Same for James. Now our riders are just rolling around here. Looks like Mr. Archibald, Andy Akers, he's got back. Good to see Andy in here. He's take a little bit of a look at Andy. Got his flat cap on. That's great to see. Looks like Mr. Swift is in here. Mr. Hull. Looks like Mr. Hopkinson's in here. Mike Salco, we've already mentioned. Trevor Crehan in as well. Johnny Two Dogs, Johnny Lightfoot's in with us. John Garfoot as well. Andy Hawes is here. Andy, I hope you've got the right shoes on. Now, time to blob up group, because this is proving to be a really big bunch here. We may well have to do a little bit of sneaky cheating on our way through. So we go find Russ out on circuit. Definitely easier said than done at the moment as we make our way up towards the front of the group. So you just see Russ now in the group here. Huge pack of riders, hundreds in front, hundreds behind. Key here is not to go too hard too early. Our riders on the big climb, they can see 1-2 coming in the distance. We take a little bit of a scroll back now. We know that our riders are all the way from the base of the climb to the top. Looks like 1 or 2 dropouts. Good to see Ty Woofington is in here. Ty, of course, a multiple time world champion speedway rider. Get onto Google, go onto YouTube. Google Ty. Ty is also more than capable of taking a win on here. Great to see Ty riding nice and strong. So Ty back in action and riding strongly in with this group. Ty, of course, more than used to a couple of sets of wheels. Ben from Mansfield's out and about. Just taking a little look with Jess. Jess rides bikes. Jess certainly does. Jess is, of course, a hill climb champion. Assos ambassador as well. Definitely in with a chance of being our women's leader as we go up and over the top of the climb. Looks like people getting twitchy once again up near the front of the group. Craig Genther is in here. Matlock's back in. Ben from Bellevue we've had. Looks like Victoria Chavaria is in the group as well. So Vic is here. So Victoria Chavaria joining us once again from Costa Rica. And Vic here just out of the saddle, riding on the lightest combo on Zwift now, which is the Tarmac Pro with the Melestein lightweights. Now just call from Ross to just knock the pace off up at the very front of the group, please, guys. The signal to disappear up the road is not going to come until everything has calmed back down again. Seeing plenty of 4s, plenty of 5s up there. The infamous name and shame camera will be heading up there in a minute. So let's jump in with another one of our sports legends from slightly different two-wheeled sport. In with Mike Killingworth here. Now Mike is, of course, the sidecar rider, the so-called passenger in the duo in the motorbike sidecar. They are definitely one of our hot duos out and racing the Isle of Man circuit amongst others. Make sure you get onto YouTube whilst you're looking at Ty. Make sure you go have a look at Mr. Killingsworth. Now, what we will be doing is we're going to be taking a snapshot of all of the riders in front of Russ and away from the main group when we go through the line, and we will be calling only those riders who are not in front of Russ. Looks like Russ doing the same thing, going to just have a motor up through the group to go have a shout out to knock the pace off. We're going to try and dive our way up through the group as well. So let's have a little look. Who can't count? Mr. Davenport. Which bit of 2.5? Counting. Back to school. Kai Hurst. Back to school. 4.9. Mr. Davenport. 4.4. Deary me. Mr. Warner. What are you on? 3.2? Looks like a lot of riders just starting to knock it off. So Mr. Davenport of Out and Saddle definitely going to be out of the running for any of the rides. So guys, no need to do it. Totally pointless. Stick with Russ till the beacon says the words that begin with G and end with G. And it's got lots of OOOs in number. It's not going to happen yet. In fact, it won't happen until this group reforms. We've got to turn onto the roundabout before we turn on to the climb proper. And if you look at Mr. Thwaites' numbers, he's not the lightest rider in the bunch. And even moving up through, just sitting nicely around the front there. Now, last time round we had a nice big bunch that behind. Now we will be running our way back to front through the entire group as long as the companion app plays ball. So we move our way on. We're just going to hunt our way down towards Russ. Looks like Struan McInnes is in here. Andy Thornley. Mr. McDonald in here, in with Russ at the moment. Let's take a shot round the sides. Let's check out what Russ got. Some nice lightweight wheels on that Pinero. Some nice lightweight halos on there to get him up the hillside. We want to say a massive thank you to Halo, of course, for sponsoring Halo E. From Downing Cycling, this is our leading group of 100 riders at the moment, and Russ just holding the pace down a little bit. Looks like problems with Mr. Radcliffe with a back wheel change on his turbo, then back onto the group. Plenty of twitchy riders up on the front of this group. The bad news is they're not going to get the signal until Russ is more than that, with everybody who's back off the pace. Shelling the riders early on, definitely not in the spirit of the Donny Chain Gang, but unfortunately that's what's happened. Let's give you some time checks back. So as we go on to the start, the turn onto the Chalet Reynard section. Rich Hill currently at 3 minutes and 3. So we are working our way through the riders. So 3:03 back to Rich. So we're going to see how our riders hold together with 3:03 behind. Currently at 4% gradient. If we take a little bit of a zoom out, you see the riders on this section. I can still see the Von 2 in front. Mr. Clark right up near the front here. So Darryl Clark just holding in that group. Russ just going to be keeping that pace steady at the moment, just dropping it at 3.5 watts per kilo. I think everybody's realised they need to be behind Russ. It looks like George Radcliffe going for some anti-doping, weight doping on his way through. Nice big group behind the yellow beacon. The aim is to roll in a nice steady pace and only to hit the throttles at the right time. So there we go, signal's gone, it's a go, go, go from Russ. The attack's already going thick and fast at the front of the group. We're 12.5k in, 24 minutes. oddly enough, the entire front of the group managed to listen when it's a go, go, go signal. Let's have a little look, see who's going to sort themselves out from this group. Looks like Liam Calloway moving up well here. Just taking a little look at the numbers on the front. Plenty of drafts, plenty of aero going in at the moment. Russ hammering his way up here. He's going to be taking a little bit of a look on the front, and looks like he's just going round Clark there. He's just on to the heels here of Coleman. So Russ are just keeping an eye now. Joel Turnbull, 1-2, or definitely watch. Let's jump in with young Mr. Turnbull, sitting with Russ here. What a wise move that is. Joel Turnbull with Ryan Williams sitting here on the heels, and Turnbull clearly seeing Williams coming up on his side there. Williams in the blue, just taking a drink from the bottle there. And we're just going to take a little bit of spin round now. Ryan Williams was our winner last time round. Remember that Sigma Sport kit, black helmet, green bike. That's going to be a critical. Just in front, looks like Clark has gone on the offensive quite early here though. Now Clark is looking to take this on from the front. He's gone early. He's at 6.8 watts per kilo, and he is a dangerous rider to go up the road at the moment. Now our leader on the road, it is Clark who's leading. You can ignore Davenport, banned from the front of the group. Won't be recording his time for shooting off the front of the group. And Mr. Clark leading us go over into this quick little descent, minus 9% up onto the climb again. You can see the figures going red now. He's opening up a gap. Currently has 16 seconds on Kieran Smith, another of our regular winners. Ryan Williams also at 16 seconds. Coleman has just gone flying past him here. And Coleman for the Arctic Aircon team clearly thinks he's in with a chance of taking this. He's used the momentum on his way through, and again just opening a little bit of a gap now. We're going to take a hunt back here. So Coleman here just in the lead at the moment. It's Clark in second place. It's going to be Winfield in third place, leading the chase behind. You can see the two riders up in front. Then it's going to be Daltrey, and then Alex Belden. Good to see Alex in here. Alex, who now has well and truly eclipsed his old fella side who I used to race against in terms of speed and pace. Alex Belden, one of our young riders, going to be out to kick out some serious watts per kilo here. And Alex Belden now going alongside Winfield, but they're queuing up behind it. Stevenson, Turnbull, Daltrey, Williams, Smith. Looks like Fraser's in here. Everybody is pushing on. Finley Priest now moving up onto the front. So it is the youngsters who are massing up on the front here. They have the advantage. People like George Cooper weigh 38 kilos, but Winfield's having none of it. He's gone up over the front. Meanwhile, it is still Clark who is leading here. So it's Clark, our lead rider on the road, who is rolling round. So it looks like Clark in the lead. Then in second place, it's going to be Coleman. He's our rider, currently 3 seconds behind Clark. Then it's going to be Winfield, who is currently in third place. It's Priest in fourth. It's going to be Belton, sorry, now just moving around him into fourth. Priest in fifth. Brennan in sixth. Daltrey in seventh. Williams in eighth. Stevenson in ninth. Kieran Smith in 10th. And then this is the chase behind, and this is Scott Thwaites, Joel Turnbull, Cameron Fraser, Mr. Topping in there, Russ Downing in there, Stuart's in there, Oxenham's in there, Rob Copeland's in there as well. Everybody is in here, just with Stuart at the moment, pushing on hard here. Let's jump in with Topping. Topping, of course, was right in at the kill as we went up to the top of the main section. Behind, groups are forming in ones and twos. We're just going to jump up, see if anybody can formulate a proper gap up on the front. But it is Clark who is leading at the moment, 6.1 watts per kilo. Let's take a little bit of a look back behind him. You can see this is Clark now working hard on the front, 350 watts plus. Going up here, 172 meters per minute, 70 revs, not a high rev per minute. So clearly stamping down hard on this 10% section. And behind him the gap is at 6 seconds to Winfield. Belden at 7. Looks like Coleman at 7 seconds. Priest is at 9 seconds. Daltrey at 10. Williams at 11. Smith at 12. Brennan at 12 seconds. Thwaites at 13. It's going to be topping at 13 seconds as well. Absolutely everybody is motoring here. They're absolutely hammering up this climb, but at 18 kph it's all about having the power to get yourself up here without having too many kilos. Watts per kilo are critical as a measurement of your power going uphill. Winfield chasing in second place. He's trying to close down the gap on the rider in front. He's just going to go into the tunnels. Is Clark. So Clark about to dive into the tunnel. Winfield chasing him. 6 seconds is the gap behind Winfield. We take a look back behind Winfield. You can see the chase behind. This is Coleman. This is the rider behind. Coleman now working his way up, but they are queued up behind Coleman here. If we go up in the air and take a little bit of a zoom out here, you can see that chasing group behind him. So it is Clark leading, and 10 seconds down the road from Coleman, 4 seconds away from him, 5 seconds is Winfield. Then it's Priest leading the charge onto the wheel here with Williams, Dowtry, Belden, Thwaites, Brennan topping in there as well. All these riders, they know how long this climb is. It's 22k as our drone magically flies through the walls here. Just in with Coleman. We're trying to jump into the tunnel at the minute as these riders make their way in. Clark is leading. He's now at 15 seconds. He's out in the sunshine. We'll get the drone out of the tunnel, and we'll keep an eye back behind. Winfield is at 6 seconds in second place. So it's Clark leading. He's onto this next 10% section. Remember, we showed you that massive long climb on the run up to the top of the Lorraine course. Here in France, it's Clark hammering this. Mr. Mason hauling his slightly more than 38 kilos up the hill, and Gareth, the fat cyclist, isn't very fat, but he's definitely got some kilos on our lightweight climbers. However, he has plenty of fun when we hit the sprints, don't you worry. Now, Clark leading 9 seconds up the road, so it is more now, 11 seconds blowing, so 11 seconds from first to second from Clark to Winfield. Then it's another 9 seconds back. It's third place for the last time winner on Lorraine up to the Chalet Reynard, leading this chain of riders here. And that looks to me like this is a group of 9 riders behind Williams. So Williams in third, then it's Priest in fourth, in fifth is Coleman, 6th Dowtry, 7th is Stewart, 8th is Thwaites. Looks like Brennan in this group as well. Belden is in here as well. Topping is sitting in here. Topping changing his blue jersey for orange today. And you can see a preponderance of specialised with Mellensteins on. That is simply because people are after the lightest combination. The lightest combination is actually a tarmac product. See what Mr. Taylor has got underneath his wheels. He's currently riding on a Ridley, the Downing Cycling Coach rider, currently sitting in with this group as well. So just around about that top of 15, then it's going to be Stevenson, McNamara, Corby, then it's going to be Russ Downing, Joel Turnbull at the moment, not having it all his own way. The lightweight from the northeast, 12 seconds in front of King and Kirkham. Kieran Smith, another of our former hill climb medalist, Kieran, in the National Hill Climb, and it's over on Bank Road, absolutely flying on the hill, normally not to be today. Joining him is young George Cooper, winner of our Halo Wheels overall competition in their Thorney Oxenden booth, and plenty more behind as these riders continue up. We're going to rattle our way quickly up through. Let's jump in with Scott Thwaites. So Road Pro for Alpecin, FedEx winner of sprints as well as of climbs, and some serious power to weight coming out, and it's big power for Scott Thwaites, but at the moment he's giving best to Clark, who is leading. This is our leader out on the course at the moment. He's up on the side here of the hill, just making his way. You can just see the train on the climb here behind, and interesting that we don't have Mr. Warren in contention here. The 100 climbs rider out with us today, and Not seeing him in action, but at the moment our leader, it is Clark on this big banked section here. He's going to try and keep himself out of trouble and well clear of the chase behind. Now, there are about 20 riders from the yellow beacon of Russia. You can just see that thin yellow beacon pointing up as the train on the funicular railway climbing up the side here of the Chalet Reynard, and it is going to be Clark who is going to be racing the funicular railway up the side of the hillside here. It's Clark at the moment on the Downing Cycling DONNYCHAINGANG here in France. We're in France all week in memorial to everybody who's been affected by conflict over the years. And of course, remember it's Sunday, last Sunday, and we have Armistice Day, the 11th of the 11th tomorrow. So Clark just being passed, but the only thing passing him at the moment is that railway, because Clark is riding strongly here. You can just see the onto in the distance 16.6k. He's absolutely hammering up here, still holding 5.7 watts per kilo. Now behind this is Winfield, who is chasing. So Winfield are working hard here. It looks like Stewart is behind as well. Let's keep an eye on Stewart here. I suspect Stewart is one of our younger riders. Certainly looks very lean here, and probably getting flagged there just on the way up, just simply because they are such good watts per kilo. If you are one of our younger riders, you can actually get in touch with Swift if you keep on getting flagged because you are a younger rider. Now, looks like Jamie Stewart here sits in third place. He's got 10 seconds and leading the chase now. It looks like it's going to be Taylor behind. Let's take a look down at Taylor. This is Taylor leading this chasing group in fourth place. He's got Ryan Williams in fifth. He's got Topping in sixth, Dowtree in seventh, Belden in eighth, Priest in ninth, Stevenson in 10th. It looks like Brennan in 11th, Coleman in 12th, McNamara is in 13th, Corby in 14th position at the moment. But now Taylor just continuing to push on those pedals, and Matt Taylor just trying to break the riders behind here. He's stringing them out. We're on the 12% section. If we take a zoom out and go down at course level, you'll get a better idea of just how steep this is. And of course the smart trainers clamping down on the back wheel virtually to slow them down. One man who doesn't look like he's slowing, it is Mr. Clark. We do expect you, Mr. Clark, to give us a shot of the scales post climb, I think, just so we can check this, because this is some serious watts per kilo you're putting out here. 5.8 watts per kilo still on the climb. He said he was going to go for it today. He certainly has done. 26 seconds back on our second placed rider, and that is going to be Winfield here. Winfield, we knew was going to be in contention. Now we've been talking about the lightest setup on the climbs, and this is it. So you're looking at the lightest combination. The wheels you can only achieve by climbing up to the Alpe d'Huez enough times to be awarded them, and then on top of that you then get the frame by buying it with your drops points on the way through. So nice and strong riding here. Second place for Winfield. Now the gap behind is 7 seconds. Clark is well clear up at the front. Winfield has a 7-second lead. I think I need more coffee to say that clearly. 7 seconds lead from Stewart's behind. This is Stewart working hard to try and close the gap. Stewart has 15 seconds on that chasing group, and it's very, very tight behind. And now Ryan Williams starting to push on. It was Taylor who was doing the work on the front, but Williams now just continuing to push on. Really is a time trial for a lot of these riders. If you're finding it hard, guys, blame the people who chose it. If you public are capable of choosing boat face, well, guess what? Our riders are capable of doing this. And just think, when you get to the top of the climb, and you get to the Chalet Reynard banner, if you were to go to the top of Von Top, it's another 6 kilometres to the top of the main climb. Now, Williams here starting to open a gap. Belden leading the chase at 2 seconds, topping, sitting with him. Taylor, then Stevenson, then Priest, Dowtry, Brennan, Corby, McNamara, Coleman behind. Clark leading with a minute on Williams at the moment. It's a big close down to do. But remember, we have still plenty of time, currently about 7.5 kilometres for Williams to cover still. And for Clark, it's only going to be about 7k or so. 6.9 for Clark. It shows you just how long this climb is. Now, Williams had a gap of 2 seconds on Belden. Belden is starting to close down. You can see the rider in the blue behind starting to close it down. 5.8 watts per kilo. 5.7 for Belden, whereas Williams is sitting at 4.6, and Belden is closing this gap down. Topping is being distanced a little bit by Belden here, who's got a clear couple of seconds, and Taylor now at 6 seconds behind in the green. But Belden it is who's closed the gap down. Is he going to be able to go past, or is he going to sit on Ryan Williams' wheel? There is still an aero advantage sitting behind somebody out on circuit, but it all comes down to how those riders are going. So whilst our riders are on the way up, Clark here on his way up towards the skis, the first of the ski stations, leading. This is position 1. So 1 is Clark, 2. This is Winfield in 2. Stewart in 3. In 4 is Ryan Williams, with Belden in 5 right behind him. 6 is going to be Topping. 7 is Taylor. 8 is Stevenson. 9 is Priest. 10 is Dowtry. 11 Brennan. McNamara in 12. Corby in 13. Coleman in 14. Turnbull 15. Cooper 16. Downing 17. Thornley 18. Kirkham 19. King 20. Sawyer 21, Matthews 22, Thwaites 23, Kenning 24, Glenn Turnbull 25, Webb is in 26, Copeland 27, Pillinger 28, Booth 29, Oxenham 30, Fraser in 31, Hot Dog 32, Davenport 33, Cass 34, Simon 35, Riddler 36, Green 37, Elder 38, Bishop 39, Shark 40, Mr. Warren of 100 climbs is 41st, Pritchard 42nd, Griffin is 44th, 45 for Hine, 46 for Harrison, 47 for Crawley, then it's going to be Wolf, 48th, and our leading woman, so it is going to be Wolf, regular rider currently in 47th position. And 47 for Imogen Wolf, our leading woman. 48 for Manaki, 48 for Crawley, 49 for Manaki, 50 for Blackman, 51 for Turner, 52 for Grimshaw, 53 for Watson, 54 for Singleton, 55 for Dobson, Thornley in 56, Archibald in 57, Cairns in 58, Osman in 59, McCoon in 60th, it's going to be 61st for Callaway, 62nd for Mason, and we're just going to work our way down now here looking for our next women, which means it's going to be Jess Rice Bikes in the second women's position, and Jess has at the moment 6 seconds on Becca. So at the moment it is Imogen Wolf in 1, Jess Evans in 2. It's Becca in 3, and Becca is going to have Jess at 8 seconds in front as her target, and that's about 2 banners up the road. So Becca currently in 3. Going to take a look down for 4th and 5th woman at the moment. It's going to be Maddie Smith in 4th, So here's Maddie, one of our regular riders, riding for Bolsover. Currently the fourth woman on the climb, subject to not having missed anybody on the way through. Just having a little look. Altaf riding strongly here. Alan Parsons, another of our regulars, going strong. Rob Wimble in back kit that he normally wears. Then just taking a little bit of a look down here. Looks like Andy Hall's not too far away. You can see Andy back on the chain gang. Going to be loving this, aren't you, Andy? I hope you've got the right shoes on. He's gone to the black shoes because they're lighter. They certainly are. Ben from Mansfield, not too far away down here. Just taking a little bit of a hunt down and through. Go to Emma Collier here. Emma nicely inside the top 5 women here. Just running our way back down. Just behind Emma, I think it is going to be Vic Chavaria, the next of our female riders here. And again on the lightest bike setup. 42 revs per minute. Vic back off the turbo a bit. 42 revs per minute. I've got clocks that turn faster than that. My goodness. Dan Ladle on his way up the climb. Vin Donahue, another of our regulars. Sonny Inslee, not too far behind. Sonny, of course, one of our winners in the Halloween. Mr. Borelli is in here, and don't forget Nonna's in Sheffield, home for plenty of the guys from the chain gang. Stefano Borelli with Nonna's with a fantastic takeaway service, and definitely worth a shout out if you're in the area, whether that's the Chesterfield or the Sheffield one. Sheffield one's particularly good, but I would say that because that's one of my favourite places to go eat. Then just drop back to Mr. Hill, who's our beacon at the back. Let's see who's around and about him. Looks like Mr. Perrin not too far away. He's only a couple of seconds behind. Looks like Craig Herring just rolling down here. Now Craig got one of our regulars right up at the front. Craig just dropping back, and I think he's got Taylor behind him. And Taylor on the hillside here with 1.7 watts per kilo, currently at 14k. Our leaders, though, a long way up the road. We're going to go shoot up. First of all, we're going to drop in with Russ, see how Russ is getting on. And then we're going to work our way back up towards the front. So Russ rolling along nicely. He's just ahead of Scott Thwaites now, so looks like he's pulling his way up and through. We're going to go rolling our way up. So it's like Brennan in front. So Dowtree nicely up there. In front of him is young Matt Brennan. Brennan rolling well. Then it's Finley Priest in front. The Saratoga division. Then McNamara. Then Taylor Stevenson topping Belden at the top 4 riders. The same. It is Clark leading the ride at the moment. So Clark leading out. Darryl Clark nicely rolling again, still sitting nicely at 5.6 watts per kilo on this climb. 20k done, 2.8k still to go. Just going to come into the rapids very shortly, and still plenty of distance out on the map to do. As you can see at the bottom of the climb, you can see the banner at the very top, the KOM on the right hand side of that profile at the bottom of the map view. At the moment, though, Mr. Clark kicking out at 330 watts, 180 beats per minute, so his heart rate is starting to rise. He is actually human, and on his way up the climb. 181 now, 345 watts at the moment, 357, 68 revs per minute, so still rolling a relatively low cadence. 90 revs per minute behind here for Winfield. Winfield's chasing, but that distance in front, you can't even see it on any of the close-up maps. We have to go to the wider view to get our leader. That gap now at 41 seconds as Winfield comes past the old Monstry. And then it is Stuart behind. Stuart 26 seconds behind Winfield, and just rolling alongside there. So they've got 11 seconds on Ryan Williams. Ryan a little bit further down the road. He's got company though. He has Belden sat on his wheel. This is going to be a tight run thing. Yeah, both very, very good riders. So we're going to see who is going to be able to take the honours when we get up to the top. They've come down past the lake now behind. It is Topping who is chasing. He's 8 seconds down. Then a further 11 seconds back is Stevenson. McNamara 2 seconds behind him. Taylor, then Priest, Brennan, Dowtree, and then it's going to be Corby, Coleman, and then it's going to be Kirkham, Thornley, it's going to be George Cooper, Rick King, and then Russ here. So let's just jump in with Russ at the moment. We'll go have a little bit of a check how Russ is getting on. Just coming past the lake side here, just going to be heading up towards the monastery halfway up here. Just closing down on the wheel here of Cooper, just sat behind King at the moment. And you can see just going to be going into the bridge up over the river in a minute. See just how steep this is as these riders come up this 11% gradient. Just closing down on George Cooper. George's going to get some company, and it's surprising how much of a difference it makes when you've got somebody to ride next to on the way through. So it's a long climb, currently sitting at 50 minutes of riding so far. 19.2k covered for Russ, and the same for George in theory. Looks like George is taking a little bit of off beat, because George is sitting at 19.8 kilometres to Russ's 19.3. I think some of these distances just a little bit sus on the way through. Don't forget, of course, you can get a late join, which will push you in much later. But let's go up to our leader now, 21.1, just coming in through the rapids. It is going to be Clark, so just making his way alongside the river here, just made his way through those. Way to go still, just at 21.2, so still plenty of distance for Darryl Clark, our leader here on the Down in Cycling. Donny Chaingang behind him, 1 minute and 1 second in room 101. It is going to be Winfield working hard behind, still kicking out 370 watts here, 400 plus at places. Heart rate at 168, a little bit lower, but his revs nice and high, nice and smooth. 96 revs per minute for Winfield. If we flip back to Clark still rolling at 67 revs per minute at the moment. Behind him then is Stewart's chasing hard here. He's at 85 revs per minute, 86 revs per minute. Then it's going to be Williams right in the middle of the rapid section at the moment. Just go take a log up. He's worked his way in through. Then it's going to be Belden behind him. So Belden just coming up towards the top of that section. Topping is behind him, 14 seconds behind him. Then it is McNamara, and McNamara working hard to get that gap closed down. Then it's going to be Stevenson, Taylor, and the group of Priest. Brennan is with him in the orange. Doughty behind in the black with the white shoulders. Corby coming up alongside him in that blue. And then a little bit further back is Coleman, just not too far off the pace of these two. So Coleman, you just see these two riders in front. He won't want to let that gap go too far. So Coleman of the Arctic Aircon Racing just trying to close that gap down, pushing up to 4.8 watts per kilo, just trying to get the gap back. Then it's going to be Kirkham, Thornley, and then Downing at the head of a little group here, just being passed by Rick King. Behind him, George Cooper. Then it's Kenny Matthews Webb, followed by Glenn Turnbull. Rob Copeland, not his usual super fire himself, maybe just not wanting to take this on too hard at the moment. Simon just coming alongside and just up in front. So Simon, the rider coming alongside there, just making his way up, but our leader continuing upwards. We're going to go past Doughty, go past Topping. We're going to go right the way up to our leader here now, 21.9k, so less than 1k to go for Clark here. This 1,000 metres are going to seem like an eternity as he comes up around these turns. The finish is at the hairpin turn. You can just see coming where you cross the river at the very top of the map screen at the moment. So not too far to go. You can see it coming up in front of him, but his view in front won't be of that banner just yet, because he's got to make his way up alongside the river a little bit further yet before we get around that turn. So 22.1. The meters are coming down here for Clark. He's got a gap now. It is sub 1 minute, but Clark here looks like he's just got a drop out here, and he's got to keep kicking on here. Just a bit of an issue there. Could be a tech issue. He's got the time to rectify that back up to 5.8, so a drop out there for Clark. Bit of an issue for our leader of the DONNYCHAINGANG, and looks cool as a cucumber, his avatar. I'm not sure that's going to be real life at the moment. The gap's gone down to 56 seconds here for Winfield, but he is looking super strong on his way up here, and looks like he is going to be untouchable as he makes his way around these turns. Pushing on here, Clark 54 seconds. He's down at 5.9 behind him. The pressure is on from Winfield. At this big climb, he's going to take the left-hand turn across the river, then take a couple of rights. Looking good at the moment, and looking pretty smooth on his way through here. Winfield in second place at the moment. Still trying to push onwards here, looking pretty smooth. Those revs that dropping down a little bit here. He's down to 70 revs per minute. Stewart behind him, 45 seconds down on Winfield in third. Williams is in fourth. Belden is in fifth. Clark up the road though, and really is starting to push on now. He's going to come around the corner. He's going to start to believe this is going to be his today. We're going to take a little bit of a zoom out here to try and get a good view of the run in. So just coming up to the tree line now, on the way up Bond 2 comes Clark. He's 1 minute 5 seconds clear, looking like he has really paced this well. He's just dropping up and down on the pressure, so really starting to feel the gradient here. This is the run in to the finish. You can just see as we come out of the tree line, and you're going to take a left-hand turn very soon, and Clark working hard here. He's going to keep this pushing onwards. He's got a good time. I'm going to see if he's going to be the fastest up here. I think he's going to do this very comfortably indeed. So some hard work, some real hard graft being put in here as Clark continues to push on 6 watts per kilo at the moment. We're just going to try and drop back. I think we've got problems for Winfield behind, so Williams are working hard here, and Belden and very, very close as well. So in with Clark, you can see the gantry coming up. Clark now, the distance disappearing on down. The gantry is in front of him. This is the finishing point. We're going to see what the time gaps are, and Winfield back in with us again, 55 seconds here. So just taking a look, it is going to be a victory today for Clark. He's making his way in towards the line. So Darryl Clark, the first rider to come across the finish at the Chalet Reynard. No running for this one. He didn't need to do a Froome, and he comes through with nearly 1 minute clear on the chasers behind. Great riding by Clark as he now warms down. Let's go back to the riders behind. It's 1 minute and 2 seconds back to Winfield, our rider in second place. Giving best today to Clark, and Darryl Clark with a phenomenal performance there. Now Winfield on that lightest bike setup you can play on the Zwift game here. This fantastic platform for the Downey Cycling DONNYCHAINGANG. We've got plenty more giveaways to come. We want to say a massive thank you to all the guys who looked after us so far. The only giveaway at the moment is going to be drops of sweat from our riders, because it is a brutal climb up here. It feels like it goes on forever, with another 6k to the top of Bond 2. I don't think anybody's quite crazy enough to go do that, but Mr. Winfield here pushing hard, and he is the rider who's going to come across the line in second place here. So it's going to be a second place for Winfield. Dan Winfield coming clear of all but one of the riders. Clark taking victory, coming in to the gantry, taking second place for Jay's Cycle Shack doing the business here. It is Dan Winfield comes through. Great riding by Dan as he comes in and around the turn underneath the gantry goes now. Let's go down to third place. And this is going to be very tight indeed. This is two riders. We have Stuart here in the orange and blue. We've got Ryan Williams, former winner at Lorraine. So Lorraine, the top of the climb, not too far away. We're in with Williams now, who's just pushing on to the front. It's not all that far to go for these riders. They're going to see it coming round the corner. That gantry is going to appear. If we zoom out, you're just going to be able to see it coming in the distance. The riders are going to see it at the last minute. It's Williams leading at 5.1 watts per kilos. As our former winner will go straight in with him at the moment, just pulling a little gap on Stuart. Stuart needs to close this down. He can't let that gap go. If he's got anything left now, it's time to give him a look at Williams' numbers here. He knows that finish is coming quickly. And it looks like Williams now pushing on to 6.6 watts per kilo here. The gantry is just round the corner here on this brutal climb at Lorraine in France for Flanders week, for Remembrance Week here on the DONNYCHAINGANG. And it is Williams now who is pushing the gap open. And you can see it's opened up back here to Stuart. It's going to be a third place. So top spot going to Clark, second place to Winfield. Our former winner last time on the mountain. This time round it's a third place, another podium spot, and it's going to go to Ryan Williams, who keeps those revs going. 193 beats per minute. I just saw there from Ryan on his way in to the finish up here on the mountain top at Lorraine. So great riding by Ryan Williams, and I'm not surprised he eases off those pedals. Great riding by Williams into Stuart, who's going to come through. He's going to take fourth place here, Jamie Stewart. Great ride by Jamie. It is fourth place for Jamie Stewart on this brutal climb here in France now. A little bit of a time gap back. This is where we start the counting and hope we keep up with all of the positions. This is going to be for fifth place, and this is a little bit tight here. We've got Belden coming through. We've got Topic and McNamara here, who has got the power to take this into the finish. This is for a top 5 place here. Who's got the kick on the way into the finish? Let's jump in with young Mr. Belden. But all three of them are here. Who's going to be able to take this as they head into towards the line? Because it's going to be close here. Belden currently sits in third place up into second of this group, but it's for the fight for fifth place. Who's going to take it? It's McNamara who gets it. So McNamara takes fifth, Belden in sixth, Topping in seventh position as they come through the gantry there. So first Clark, second for Winfield, third for Williams, fourth for Stewart, fifth for McNamara, sixth for Belden, seventh for Topping. It's going to be Mr. Taylor. Matt Taylor is going to take an eighth place on the climb today, riding some pretty hefty kit on the way up there. That's still coming in nicely in an eighth place position for Matt Taylor, the Downing Cycling coach, the rider coaching works kids. It's that simple. So Matt Taylor comes through for eighth place. We're going to drop down in for ninth position, and ninth is going to be Stevenson here. So it's going to be Dan Stevenson coming through for ninth place. So there's about 1.2k of warm down to go, but Stevenson comes through in ninth. Mr. Brennan is going to come through. He's going to take 10th place here. Good riding by Matt Brennan. The youngster comes through to take 10th. Behind him, it's going to be Dowtree who takes the 11th place spot. So Dowtree comes through to take 11th. Coleman is going to come through for potentially 12th. He's got Priest on his wheel. Coleman takes 12th. It's going to be Priest in 13th position. It's going to be Corby, I think, who's going to be taking that 14th place. on the way through. So 13th, I think they're for Prince. It's going to be a 14th for Corby. So just jumping in with Corby here. So 14th place for Corby. At the moment, it's Kirkham in 15th, Kenning in 16th, Downing 17th, King in 18th. But let's see if that holds as they come into the line here. Now Corby has to hold off the challenges from behind here. Can he do so? He's just pushing up the watts per kilo here. This is for 14th place to sit inside the top 15. Corby's pushing. Is he going to hold this? I think he is. So Tim Corby working hard. He's on his way up here. It's going to be a 14th place for Tim Corby. So 14th to Tim Corby as he comes in and through the line. Then it is going to be Dean Kirkham. Kirkham coming through for 15th at the moment. Then it's the group. This is the 16th, 17th and 18th positions. And this is the group that was with Russ Downing. So it's King who's going to come through for 16th place. It's going to be a 17th for Kenning. And it's going to be an 18th for Russ Downing. Russ coming through in 18th position behind Thornley, chasing hard. Not sure I can count to 200, guys, but I'll have a go. Difficult. I don't have that many fingers and toes. I know I'm from the wrong part of Yorkshire, but still don't have enough. So Thornley is now on his way up here. This is going to be 19th position for Thornley. Just going to be heading into the line here. So it is Andy Thornley who's going to come through in 19th. Is Cooper going to take 20th position? I think it is. So it's going to be Cooper. Little sprint in from George, I think, on his way in towards the line. So Cooper comes in through the gantry there, with Webb chasing behind him. So Webb coming through. So it is going to be 21st for Webb. Into our next group, this is going to be 22nd and 23rd. So 22nd is going to be Turnbull. It's going to be Matthews in 23rd. So this is Glenn Turnbull. 22nd. Going to be Matthews coming through for 23rd here. So well done to Matthews. It's going to be a 24th for Simonite. So Cam Matthews for 23rd, 24th for Paul Simonite. Simonite, nice revs here, 90 revs per minute on the way up here, 150 beats per minute. For the 25th position, is it going to be Copeland or Thwaites? I don't think Thwaites is going to let him have anything here. That Copeland's gone for it. Is he going to do him? He is. So Thwaites there with nothing to prove. I don't think Copeland wants that top 25 position. Rob Copeland on his way in to the line. He's going to take 25th spot, subject to count back, of course. And then it's going to be Thwaites on his way in. Good to see you on the chain gang yet again, Scott. So 20, oh, it's close, 26th for either Pillinger or Thwaites, 26th, 27th. I'll let you guys see that on the countback. It's going to be a 28th place for Booth. So Simon Booth, 28th as he goes over the line. 29th is going to be Scott Harrison. Scott Harrison at the moment, 29th position for Scott. Let's see if we can follow him into the line here. So 29th for Scott. It's going to be a 30th for John Hines just behind him. So John comes in for 30th, and it's going to be Crawley coming through for 31st. Hot Dog comes in for 32nd, Cass for 33rd, going to be Elder for 34th, Sharp 35th, Singleton's going to take 36th, Ben from Bellevue 37th, it's going to be Green coming through 38th for Green, So good ride by green there. 38th. Watson is in the next group. This is 39th and 40th positions. So it is Sam Watson, I think, and Cam Fraser. So for 39th and 40th places. So 39th Watson, 40th for Cam Fraser. 41st is going to be Simon Warren. So Simon Warren, the man who's done every climb in the book. In fact, he literally wrote the book. It is going to be Simon Warren coming through. 41st for Simon on the climb today. It's going to be 42nd for Simon Oxenham. Simon, of course, one of our regulars on the chain gang. Then it's going to be Arnie Blackman. Blackman's going to come through for 43rd. Then it's going to be Hanley. Hanley coming through 44th today, just across the line. It's 45th for Bishop, but coming in 46th, first woman, is going to be Imogen Wolf. So Imogen comes through, first woman in. Imogen Wolf doing the business here today. Great riding by Imogen. And kicking out some substantial watts per kilo, 5.3. She came in and through the line. So great riding, Imogen, to take our first woman through, and in fact our sprint leader as well. So it's going to be a 47th for Connor Cairns. It's going to be a 48th for Craig Genther. So Genther's going to come through for 48th position here, nicely inside the top 50. Then it's going to be Rini coming in 49th. Jess Rice Bike's going to go for him here. Jess is going to get our second woman. So second woman up on the climb. Our National Hill Climb charity rider, very at home on big hills. It is Jess Evans coming through. She takes second woman. Then it's going to be Archibald and really behind us. Seeing them coming through the line. Osman, Griffin, and it's going to be Darrell and Callaway, our next riders up to the line. So Liam Callaway, another of our regular riders. Don't forget, guys, if you enjoyed the ride, I'm not sure that's the right word to use, make sure you go on to the Facebook page. Make sure you hit those donate buttons as well. Your donations make it all possible. It makes it possible for us and myself to spend all the time and all the money on all the kit to make the coverage better, to get you the high definition, to make sure that the internet has a backup, which is why we were running slightly late today, because we had to drop onto the backup line. And of course, to make sure that we can get all of those goodies for you in all of the giveaways. Now, next up is going to be Rollet. I think Rollet is just going to come in front of a Mick Hawkins. It's going to be Peacock. Going to be followed by Raccoons. Will be our next rider into the line just ahead of Thornley. There's going to be third woman in. It is Becca coming through. So well done, Becca. Not just quick on the flat stuff, but third woman in and across the line. Then it's going to be West. So West just in front of Parsons. Parsons are working hard behind here. Is Parsons going to be able to take him? It looks like he is. Oh, and Parsons just takes the sprint through from West there. So it just goes in front of Jays West, and it is going to be Jason and Jimmy from the Stellaton, from the Fort Bensley Stellaton, DONNYCHAINGANG, probably taking it slightly easier because I think he's racing on the Chef Breakstroke, the Cookney Team Sheffield time trial tomorrow. Next is to be our man from Johnson Wheelers. It is Proven coming through just ahead of Bundy. Then Ethan Grimshaw on his way in. Good riding, Ethan. Good to see you on the chain gang here. And Grimshaw making his way in and through line. Nice climbing lightweight bike there, mate. Good call. Then it's going to be Mr. Drury. Drury shooing lightweight for Aero. Not always the best option on this climb. Then it's going to be Joel Davis coming through. Joel, another of our slightly bigger riders, putting out some serious watts on his way up to the line. So great riding, Joel. He's going to come in ahead of Matt Manakee. Don't forget, of course, the struggle events are open for entries and are opening for entries for 2021. Limited numbers in all events next year likely to happen, so don't forget, guys, you need to get your entries in nice and early. And the struggle events will sell out now. Is Manaki going to hold this? Or is Sutcliffe going to get him on the line here? Well, it's going to be close. Sutcliffe just gets it. So Sutcliffe comes through just ahead of Manaki. So Sutcliffe there from outside goes through in front of Manaki, who is clearly glad to get over the line. Next to our Johnson Wheelers on the way in. They're going to be ahead of Johnny Two Dogs next. So Johnson Wheelers comes through just ahead of Johnny Two Dogs. Johnny Two Dogs, the next rider on the road. Plenty of riders coming. Just see Edwards, Johnny Ronker, Farron, Thomas and Sharp. Ellis on the way as well. It's going to be Johnny Lightfoot on his way. So Johnny Two Dogs doing the business here on the Donny Chain Gang. And Johnny's going to come in to take this. He comes in under the gantry just ahead of Edwards of Chef Wreck. Farron from Bolsover and Deer Street. Then it's going to be Johnny Ronker and followed in by Sharp. Then Thomas just coming in over the line ahead of Ellis here. Ellis just ahead of 3, chasing riders behind. That's going to be Rich Orrell. It's going to be Warner and Flanders Fraser. So Orrell, Simon Warner and Andy Fraser is going to be our next group behind Ellis. But I think Ellis is going to hold on here. Going to be close as they come in to the line here. It's going to be awfully close. In fact, it is Orrell who gets it from Fraser, then Ellis, then Warner behind him. Next up is going to be our next female rider. It's going to be a 4th place in the women's competition for Maddie Smith. Ian Taylor from 1080, our fantastic Oakley August sponsors. Don't forget 1080, of course, the place to go to get yourself some proper eyewear. In fact, I'm going to be in touch with Ian shortly. Need some more to deal with the mud that he's dealing with out on the trails around where Maddie's out around Bolsover in the district area. So Maddie comes through 4th position for the course national champ. Then it's Priest coming through behind. Then Stu Coates. It's going to be from Zodiac, our next rider in. Going to be ahead of Deltree and Blackford next. Don't forget, get onto the Facebook page. Tell us quite how bad that was. We know it was tough stuff. We know it was brutal. Please, guys, make sure you get yourselves on the Facebook page. Get the comments in there. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. As next rider in is going to be Deltree, then Blackford. So Blackford coming through there just ahead of Matthias. So Matthias, our next rider in and through the line just ahead of Goddard here. So Goddard goes up and through the gantry ahead of Donald. It's 7% of a hill, really tough stuff. Don't forget to tell your friends, remember to remind them how it all works. Stay together till you hear the go, 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 go. We won't hesitate to name and shame. Up at the front, there were plenty of people named and shamed. You'll get told off by the bear himself, Ross Downing. And of course, we can always exclude you from the results because we get to pick who's on it. The advantages of being a friendly dictatorship. Speaking of which, did you hear there was a result in the American elections? No, I didn't just say that, did I? I'll never be able to go there again. Right, next up, Altaf Hussein on his way in. And Altaf now making his way into the line. Great to see you riding Altaf. Altaf, did you got to tell me, have you taken the decision? Have you gone for the Zwift bike in real life? The Wahoo bike is the one that you were looking at. It's absolutely the business, the Wahoo bike. If you've not seen it, get onto the Facebook pages. There's a whole thread from Altaf on there. Next in is Mr. Clipston, going to be ahead of Gale. So it's Gale coming through. Then it's going to be Gibbons. Don't forget, of course, all this brought to you by Russ and myself, Matt Payne. All the work on the Facebook page, all of the broadcasts, the graphics, etc. All brought to you for free. We did it at the start of the first lockdown to give everybody something to look forward to through the week. As Hallam comes through with Gibbons just ahead of Badger. So So Badger through, then it's going to be Alan Parsons, Mr. Ridley himself, so well done Alan, ahead of Luby, and then it's going to be, I think, Barry Kipling, our next rider into the line. Barry losing the orange from the favour of a black and grey outfit, just to keep us confused. Don't forget, of course, all this brought to you by myself and Russ. We just keep everybody together. We'll keep it going as long as we can. We do need your donations, so if you do have a little bit spent, don't forget, make sure you get yourselves on to the Facebook page. Donate button is on there. On to the DONNYCHAINGANG.co.uk, DONNYCHAINGANG.co.uk as well. As Ben from Mansfield on his way in towards the line as well. Looks like Gardner, Dorsey, Garfoot, Rob Wimble, Dave Fulton, Mr. Taylor on his own way. We're just going to watch Ben from Mansfield head in. Looks like a puppy red day today from Alan Parsons, quite right as well. We're going to be doing the same as well. Brooks is in, and looks like Gardner coming up towards the line. Then it's going to be Nick Dorsey. Nick doing the great job of hauling his carcass up there, Eros Poli style. As you can tell, Nick is not the lightest rider on Zwift, it has to be said. Behind Dorsey, it's going to be Garfoot. So John Garfoot, our next rider, heading in towards the line. He's just ahead of the man who's normally Sartorial at the challenge, but he's actually looking quite dapper today, Rob Wimble. So Rob on his way in. Rob, we need to have a word about wheels. Lightweight, mate, lightweight. It's the biggest hill, bar one, in France. You need the lightest kit you can lay your hands on. Give me a shout, give us a message on Facebook, and we'll let you know exactly which set of wheels to go up here with. And it looks like Mr. Fulton is just going to pop him on the line. So Dave Fulton going through, just in front there. So Fulton goes through just in front of Rob Wimble. Then it's going to be Taylor, and then it will be Taylor going through. So that's going to be Taylor, and then Finn. It's going to be Dunn. I think Finney just on the way in towards the line. Looks like Swift are putting in a big effort in towards the line at the moment. So it is Swift heading in here just in front of Finney. Andrew Swift comes through in front of John Finney. And then it is going to be John Finney. He's going to be chased in here, and it's going to be Neil Morn on his way towards the line. So just in front of Vic Chavaria, Ted Holmes, Pete McGowan, Trev Crehan, Andy Hawes. Looks like there's a group around Andy once again, one of our regular riders. He knows exactly the score. Of course, Andy, a long time worker on the Tour of Britain, the route director at the moment as well. Of course, looking forward to seeing that come back in 2021. So Neil on his way in towards the line. Don't forget, guys, make sure you support the people who support your sport, whether that's hitting the donate button on the Facebook page and shooting a few pennies over so that we can keep on improving. There's plenty more in the pipeline. We've had to just delay a couple of things a little bit. That's simply so that we can get the infrastructure in place and I can get rid of the builders who, one of which actually is likely to be on the chain gang very soon, oddly enough. Never resist the temptation to sell the chain gang to people and get them out and riding. Now Ted's on his way through. He's got company regularly riding, of course, with Victoria Chavaria. So Vic on the way through, riding that lightweight combo. The two riders having gone up to the top of the close. Good to see Victoria Chavaria coming through. Vic, of course, regular on the Facebook page. Next in is going to be Holmes. So Holmes comes in. Now he's going to be in front of Andy Horsey. He is in front of Horsey. So Hawes on his way in towards the line, lightest shoes he can get. And he's looking very svelte actually today, I have to say, Mr. Hawes. We can do a bit of the man love, don't worry, Andy. It's not like we haven't shared enough experiences. Then it's going to be Trevor Crehan, Mike Killingsworth coming in, and then Coleman comes through with McGowan, and then it's going to be Donnelly, our next rider, heading up towards the line here. So Donnelly has a chasing group of riders here. I think it's going to be Collier, and a big kick into the line here by Collier, looking not to get popped on the way in. Holding off Stevenson, who went hard there, but Collier with that final kick in goes through. Great riding by Emma Collier as Emma goes in and over the line, being chased by Stevenson. Then Donnelly comes through. Then it's going to be James immediately behind her. Then it's probably going to be Richard Langmead just behind them. Going to take a little bit of a look through our riders. So next up is going to be Mr. Langmead, who's on his way up towards the line. The gantry just appearing in front. So it gets very entertaining because of course we have to watch out for riders who are heading back down the hill. If anybody did go up to the top of Paul de Huey, they should do start showing up on our screens as well. But it is going to be Mr. Langmead, our next rider, heading in towards the line as he managed to hold off everybody behind. So just getting rolled there. Looks like Pritchard just taking it there. So it was Pritchard, then Langmead, and it is going to be Nadoni coming through. And that's going to be Antonio. So Antonio comes through just in front of Lone Rider, who should be our next rider on the way into the line. So Lone Rider, next rider out on the course. And Lone Rider works the way in. You can see that gantry in front pick up Lone Rider on the way in. So great riding by Lone Rider. You see just how steep it is, the gradient shown against the brick wall there. As Lone Rider comes in and through, we're going to drop back to Slatter. So we're going to go back to Alan. Alan keeping those revs nice and smooth, 77 revs per minute, and an interesting combo of bike and jersey, it has to be said. It's almost Rob Wimble-esque or Mr. Singleton-esque in terms of sartorial elegance. So into the line comes Alan and Slater, the next rider in and through. Goes through ahead of Vin Donahue. Well, I knew it was going to be a long day at the office when I made the coffees. I went for extra shots, but it looks like we've run out of coffee here in the studio, and the coffee machine is another floor above us, so that's not going to happen down here in the dungeons that are the studios. It's going to be OT for me from here on in. Unfortunately, you've got plenty of supplies of OTE, the recovery fuel essential post mountain bike ride in the morning, and of course key for our riders when you finish the chain gang. Don't forget, guys, make sure you rehydrate, make sure you refuel with some great recovery products. It's absolutely essential because on Tuesday we're going to be heading to RGV. We're going to be heading out and round France once again. Sandwiched in between is, of course, Armistice Day, and if you are around tomorrow, then please remember, guys, 11 o'clock on the 11th to the 11th, 2 minutes. It's been a very strange year for me. Normally on Remembrance Sunday for the last, can't remember how many years, been at an event either on the mic or working on the event, and not to be this year, so for the first time we've not been able to pay our respects at a bike race. So went out and had a quick little thing out on the nearby countryside, which is something that everybody fought so hard for. So next riders in, it's going to be Clark and Llewellyn, our next riders in and through, just ahead of Smith. So Smith clearly a regular rider up on the top of the hills. It's Darren Smith that goes through. So Smith going through, and those lightweights doing the business. Next up is going to be Mr. Bell. It's going to be Beefy from Cycleways. Great to see him back in action once again. Another of our valuable contributors to the Donny Chain Gang. Thank you everybody who has put donations in so far. It all helps us get the event rolling. Then it's going to be Mark Swift coming through here and looking as powerful as he always did when he kept on beating me in sprints when we were out and racing. Then it's going to be Hayward, so Hayward's our next rider. This is going to be Keith. Good to see Keith in action. Keith, are you as light as that in real life? Actually, I think you aren't, so looks like a nice lightweight bike instead has been the weight advantage he's gone for. So great riding by Keith here on the Downing Cycling DONNYCHAINGANG. He comes through, he's going to be just in front of Ian. The stop as the Stelton rider, and I think that's going to be a bit of an induction. He's on the basic kit there, which means that is a bit of a baptism of fire. Coming out and riding up there. Next up is going to be Carter. This is going to be Louis Carter, so good riding Louis. Louis going to be ahead of Luke and Andy, Sonia, Adam and John. They're our next riders out on circuit, but it looks like Louis got our next rider heading in for the line. Gap 14 seconds back, you can just see Taylor and Akers behind, but we're going to watch Carter in and through the line. Looks like Luke Taylor is in a bad way behind. I'm not surprised, mate. I've ridden up this a few times and it's blowing horrible. There's no other word for it. So Louis Carter comes through, then it's going to be Luke Taylor. Luke looking great on his avatar. He could well get rolled here. I think Sonia is going to roll him on the line here just to add insult to injury. Another rider comes through and gives you a kick in on the line. So Sonia doing the business there. Sonia, of course, no stranger tales out and around the Peak District. Had the pleasure of bumping into Sonia out on rides around the Peak District, and Sonia is a quick uphill in real life as well. Then it's going to be Luke Taylor and of course Andy Aker, the one and only Andy Akers. Great to have Andy back in. The one part of the very fast Akers family. In fact, Andy's probably one of the slowest of the Akers family, it has to be said. Sorry, Andy, but it is. Then it's going to be Wilkinson next of our riders in. So it's going to be Wilkinson. This is Adam on the climb here. So not too far for Adam Wilkinson. He'll be able to see that gantry. It's going to be a welcome sight for all of our riders. They go in towards the line. So well done to Adam Wilkinson, just ahead of John Allen here. John doing the business here, just in front of the cannonball here, going to kick out a few more watts per kilo. He comes in towards the line, and great riding by John. Great to see you back on the chain gang once again. Just ahead of the cannonball, and the cannonball, as ever, sporting the best beard in the chain gang by a mile. So great to see you on the way through, mate. Lose the beard. Just think of all those extra grams that slow you down. John, I do not believe that you're 64 in December. Not in a month of Blue Sundays. John, apparently 64 no, you don't look a day over about 30 in your avatar, mate. You're going to have to do some serious aging. Either that or you've got a far too good hairdresser with some Grecian 2000 in action on your avatar. So, John, congratulations in December. Let us know when it is. We can do birthday shout-outs for donations, of course. So next up is going to be Scott Street. Scott's on his way up here to the finish at Lorraine. Here he goes, coming in to the finish. Comes Street here. So Scott's riding nice and smoothly. Final kick underneath the gantry. Great riding, Scott. That's what we like to see. That last little bit of energy just to make you feel really shattered on your way in and through. So riders about 3.5 minutes off finishing here. Our next rider on to the next section of a climb here on that run in towards the finish here on the Downing Cycling DONNYCHAINGANG. Make sure you get subscribed, tell your friends to get on there, give them a briefing, tell them We ride nice and steady on the way in. The aim is to get everybody part of the Donnelly Chain Gang family, at least to the go point. Doesn't always work out, we know. We do know riders struggle sometimes to see the messages from the other riders. No excuses for not seeing the messages from Russ, of course, because they come up on your screen. So next in is going to be Owen Davis, one of our regulars from the word go. And great to see Owen in action on Lorraine on this big climb up of the Vaughan 2, finishing at Chalet Reynard. The history of this is that it actually was used when high winds closed the Vaughan 2. The Tour de France used the shortened version of the climb, and it's the infamous stage where Frome's bike failed and he had to end up running. He was eventually given a neutral service bike to finish the stage on. No such problems, I don't think, for any of our riders. There's probably somebody has had a mechanical on the way through, but our next rider in is going to be Davis here from the Team Cystic Fibrosis. So Owen doing the business thinking, and that's 2.5 watts per kilo. Great riding. He's going to come in, I think, just over that 1 minute 35 mark. So here we go, Owen Davis comes through the finishing line here, nice and smoothly done by Owen. Our next rider in and through the finish, 45 seconds ahead of our regular red beacon. This is Martin Bolt. So as Martin makes his way up, don't forget, of course, guys, we've got lots more action to come. We're going to be at RGV in France on Thursday. Got loads of great routes planned as well. You never know, we might be going ahead with our plan of giving you access to the vote button on the Facebook page. Make sure you go on the Facebook page, hit the donate button. Of course, if you've got a few quid spare, a few pennies spare, let us put them to good use in improving the coverage that we keep on bringing you of the Chain Gang, making sure that Russ and myself, Matt Payne, we can keep all of the action on your screens and make sure keep on providing this resource for all of our riders. Remember, it's a game. It's all about getting people on bikes with something to look forward to throughout lockdown. So let's go back as Mr. Bolt and Mr. Hopkinson fast approach the line and jump back into the action. So here we go, Martin Bolt on his way in to that finish here on Lorraine. The gantry up in front of him. Behind him is going to come David Hopkinson. Hopkinson not too far behind Bolt here, and David Hopkinson improving with every single chain gang here. Martin Bolt, of course, one of our really regular riders. He was the red beacon for so many weeks on the chain gang, doing a great job, but he got too good. It's just the product of riding so many, and has been replaced in those duties by a rotor that Gail Phillips has been keeping an eye on. Next rider in is going to be David Hopkinson. Great to see David back in action, back in his traditional GB kit as well. So David coming through, great riding, David. So behind we have 3 riders behind. According to our screens, we'll be double checking that on the way through. This is going to be Rich Hill. Rich is our red beacon on his way. He's just ahead of Ferren. And we think Hughes, who are our last riders out on the climb at the moment, but it's Hill who's going to be our next rider into the finish. So Hughes makes the way up. Don't forget, all the guys at the bottom of your screen, just down there, those are the guys who make this happen. And I'll say a massive thank you to Grand Tour Coffee, of course, Big Ben Jenkins, who's been out with Team Ineos all the way through the Grand Tour season, and Ben, cyclist, producing coffee for cyclists. Don't forget, of course, there's the Downey Cycling's own brand blend as well, which is produced by Grand Tours Coffee. Get in touch with Russ at Downey Cycling for some of that. Don't forget, of course, we've still got a limited number of Downey Cycling socks. I'd love to be able to show you them, but they're all tucked away in the drawer, which you can't get to back at home, not down in the studio at the moment. A big thank you to Halo, of course, sponsoring Halloween our wheels sponsor for Russ. Keeping our wheels rolling on the way through. And a big thank you to Halo doing the business for us, keeping us on the move. A big thank you to Pinarello. Russ, of course, equipped with Pinarello. It's what he's ridden for most of his career, and a great bike to ride on. Everybody wants a Pinarello, and great to see Russ out on that today. Don't forget, of course, OTE, keeping everybody fueled up. Best drinks in the business, and lots of us managing to keep going all the way through. As Mr. Hill on his way up, no doubt fueled by OTE as well. Wahoo! And we mentioned earlier, Altaf looking at that Wahoo bike, and of course Wahoo keeping everybody accurate, making sure that the power is transmitted correctly, that the feel of the climb is absolutely spot on, and that's exactly what we want to happen with our riders. The more accurate you can make it, the better. Don't forget, of course, HMT Hospitals patching everybody up. Even my dodgy rotator cuff in that shoulder, actually in danger of working. Been out on the mountain bike every morning this week, which has been great, apart from the fact it's exceedingly muddy, which is not great on the start. Don't forget, of course, all of our sponsors who contributed prizes on the way through, people like Muckov to 1080, who got us going with the Oakley August giveaways, to all of the guys at Halo who've been doing giveaways of wheel bags for Halloween. Don't forget, of course, we've got lots more giveaways coming up as well. We've got lots of our regular supporters. And when you get all those t-shirts, all that kit gets passed out to you guys out there. And we are here to make sure everyone's got something to look forward to. No matter how fast you are, make sure you get onto the chain gang, and don't forget to try and get everybody in to the go point, or at least the bottom of the final climb, generally on the course like this, all together. Doesn't always work, and as it gets bigger, it is more difficult to patrol that and to keep everybody going in the same direction at the same pace. But don't forget, subscribe, like, go on the Facebook page, tell your friends about it. Make sure you get the coverage watched back. If you've got a few pennies spare, hit that donate button for us. We've got lots more improvements to come, and they're going to be steadily taking place as the funds come in. A lot of investment from Russ and myself in so far, it has to be said, and at the point now where we need your help, so please do get onto that donate button. In the meantime, let's get back to our riders. Our next rider approaching line is going to be Rich Hill, who's on his way, our red beacon for the day, on what is a tough day to be a beacon of any description. So here we go, it is those final few slopes here for Hill as he makes his way in towards those last few metres of climb. You see the climb continues up out of the tree line here at the Mont Ventoux, but we're finishing today's ride at Chalet Reynard at the top of La Reine. So in towards the line, just kicking up towards those 3 watts per kilo comes Rich Hill. A great ride by Rich, great to see. I'm riding on a very nice dogma there. The Pinarello underneath Rich as he makes his way in and through the lights. A great riding, Rich. Great to see you in action as we can see you back on the main section of the chain gang very soon. And just got a couple more riders now to drop in with. We bring everybody home. We count them all out, we count them all back in again. Next in is going to be Ferron. It's Sean who's in action now. So Sean Ferron, he's got the specialised Tarmac Pro there. That's the lightest frame on Zwift. He just needs those lighter wheels. Needs to go ride the Alpe d'Huez a few more times. On average, it's 13 times to get the wheels on the Alpe d'Huez. It can be as long as 25. It's been known that some people have managed to get the wheels in 5 goes. It's all on that roulette wheel at the top of the Alpe d'Huez copy. This wonderful platform of Zwift. We've got to say a massive thank you to Zwift for looking after us with plenty of processing power to keep it nice and speedy, as well, of course, as providing this great platform for riders like Sean to come in and ride. You never know, you might see me out on the course. Got a few more courses to add to my collection on the way through. as Hughes are now into the final section here. So Hughes out of the saddle, kicking out the Watts. So Paul Hughes, our rider out there, and Lantern Rouge on the course, nicely continuing all the way up to the top, not too far to go, and now he'll be able to see the gantry in front. If we take a Paul view, this is what Paul can see on his screen directly in front of him. Let's drop his avatar in there, and as you can see, that gantry is going to appear in front very shortly in the tough little section here. It is an 11% section, of course, and if we zoom out, you'll be able to see that gradient is there. Nice revs, just keeping it ticking around nice and smoothly as we make our way up into those final few 100 metres out of the saddle here, kicking down nice and hard. And Paul now not too far off that Lorraine finish at Chalet Reynard here. The finish is used by the Tour de France, used now twice for the DONNYCHAINGANG. Fantastic wins, fantastic riding out there by both our men's and women's winners. The women's winner Imogen Wolf, the men's winner Darrell Clark. It's not a race, but it often does turn into one. The aim, of course, to look after all of our riders so they get into the finish. So here we go, Hughes, and now the last few metres on the way up here, just climbing out from the trees out towards the top of the climb here on Ventoux, this famous mountain, with Hughes now into the barriered section here. You can just see the kilometres ticking by underneath, with Paul taking a little bit of a look up that gantry, just starting to poke its head out from around the side of the tree line there. It's going to be a welcome sight for all of our riders. Hughes on his way in, I think going to get inside that 1 minute, 1 hour 50 mark. So don't forget, if you need to get in touch with us, the easiest way to do it is on the DONNYCHAINGANG Facebook page, and the group pages on Facebook, home to lots of banter, lots of advice, lots of questions about how to ride. You can direct message us on Facebook, Fonzie Downing and myself, Matt Payne. You can get in touch with Russ at Downing Cycling. If you want to email him, Matt at Full Speed Events. For myself, don't forget, of course, if you've got a company that needs a little bit of voiceover work, you can always get in touch with me. We do plenty of that, as well as the commentary at race events. And of course, with lockdown at the moment, not very many race events to put words to the action. Fortunately, we've got the DONNYCHAINGANG, which keeps us entertained all the way through. It's gone from lockdown, first lockdown, right the way through the summer, and we aim on keeping it going all the way through the winter. We do need your help with that, so please don't forget, do donate if you've got a few pennies spare. If you haven't, don't worry, just get yourself out there and pedalling. Spread the word about the Chain Gang, and we look forward to seeing lots more riders joining Paul Hughes and all of our Chain Gangers once again when we're back on Thursday at RGV in France. Get onto those links, get them clicked, join the event. From myself, Matt Payne, from Russ Downing and everybody at Downing Cycling, a massive thank you for watching us here for Lorraine, the first of 2 rides in France for Remembrance Week. We'll see you again on Thursday.